Zillow just came out with 2025's hottest markets. This is their prediction. So based on the data that Zillow has, and by the way, Zillow has more traffic to their website than any other, online listing portal in the country. It's not even close. Okay. So between Zillow and Realtor.com, they basically have the whole thing. If somebody's looking for a home, they're looking on Zillow, they're looking on Realtor.com. One of the reasons, by the way, the one team has local exclusive contracts with both of those companies to provide more services to our sellers and our buyers, of course. So Zillow's got the traffic game. They've got, somebody looking for help. They're shopping on Zillow. They're getting connected with a Zillow partner. So Zillow's got a lot of data. They can see the insights. They can see basically where people are clicking, searching over and over and over again. And so their predictions for what will be the hottest housing market of 2025 comes with not just like putting their finger in the air and seeing which way the wind's blowing. It comes with an extreme amount of data. Okay. And so Connecticut's on the list, and that'll have an impact on Connecticut's 2025 market. But which region in particular, Chaz? Let's break down this top 10 from Zillow.
Yeah, we'll start with number 10, coming in Salt Lake City, Utah. They have, this is gorgeous out there. I haven't been out there, but everything I've seen from other, there's a real estate Utah page. All of her listings out there, absolutely gorgeous. You have the lakes, you have the mountains, you can do anything you want out there. So coming in at number 10, Salt Lake City, Utah.
Every time she posts what's going on, her listings, and I've never actually been to Utah, but I always say to my wife, it's like, based on Instagram, that is somewhere I would move. I'm an East Coast guy. Okay. We got my old Saybrook house, got my Florida house. I'm an East Coast guy, but man, Utah looks spectacular.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Every time she's like walking on the deck of one of her listings, I'm like, yep, I could do that. So number 10, Salt Lake City, Utah. Number 9.
Guys, that might be a different thing. I don't know what you're talking about there. I'm talking about Utah, the landscape.
That's what I'm talking about. The backgrounds, like when she's out walking out on the balconies and stuff. Oh my God. No, only business. All right. Number 9, Richmond, Virginia. Coming in at number 8, the Midwest, no surprise there. Kansas City, Missouri. Number 7, I'm surprised this one is, given all things considered what happened there this year, normally, historically, it's been higher on the list, but coming in at number 7, still in the top 10, Charlotte, North Carolina. Obviously, the hurricane and everything that impacted them is going to affect that housing market. So they'll probably rebound in 2026.
Charlotte, the city, was less impacted in that, obviously, in that metro region of Charlotte, is going to be on these lists for a number of years to come. They're attracting jobs. It's a boom market. And, think back 5-10 years ago when everybody, Florida just kept showing up on every migration list. Charlotte is going to be on these lists for a while.
At number 6, St. Louis, Missouri. So back to the Midwest there, 2 from Missouri in the top 10. Coming in at number 5, the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Tom Toole will be happy about that one.
I got no Philadelphia. I mean, you gotta be a sad soul to want to move to Philadelphia.
I've been
to Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly? There's nothing, and the cheesesteaks aren't as good as they say. You can get a better one here in New England.
Man,
I'm tempted to bust out the Fresh Prince theme song, but I won't.
Coming in at number 4, inside the top 5, Hartford, Connecticut. And one thing I want to point out about Hartford, Connecticut, they weren't even on the list for 2024. So in 2025, they have moved themselves all the way up to number 4.
So number 4 for Hartford, Connecticut, being on Zillow's predictions for the hottest housing markets of 2025. Great news for someone who's like, hey, I'm going to offload an investment property and put it onto the market as a seller in the Hartford region, or somebody who's going to sell their primary residence, if they're not buying in the Hartford region on the other side of that, trade. So that's good news for those. For the buyers in the Hartford region, this means that Hartford is going to be ultra competitive which means home prices continue to push up. Rates are going to continue to be around where they're at. I mean, the consensus is that we could average 6.34. When you average all the models out there, we'd have room to go there. But that's still, as prices push up in that Hartford region in particular, you're not going to get much relief there on affordability. Hartford has 4.2% expected growth from Zillow, and it's going to be difficult for sure for buyers in that region. It's going to be really important for buyers to be working with, an agent who is unlocking inventory outside of what you see on just Zillow and Realtor.com, and really active and engaged on being quick to that market, especially as we get into those, February, March, April, May months. We're seeing opportunities right now that the early movers to the market. By the way, here's a stat. As of January 8th, because I pulled it on Wednesday, so I haven't looked at it the last couple of days, but as of January 8th, Connecticut overall, the MLS has already seen 40% of the pending sales we saw all of January in 2024. So this spring market is already happening, and that we know that means there's going to be even more competition on the buy side come the traditional months, February, March, April. Yeah, Chaz, you're right. The change in the rank from 15 to 4, Hartford going to be ultra competitive, really high spot on this whole top 10 list. Hartford has the worst inventory situation, as does Connecticut. The change in inventory versus 2018-19 averages for Hartford, negative 68.6% change in inventory from pre-pandemic levels to now, negative 70% less inventory. I mean, when you look at Charlotte's up 17.5% inventory. So buyers have more options than they did in 2018, 2019, because they actually build there. If you look at like Kansas City, which was on the list, only negative 36%. Nobody's in the range except number 3 spots, kind of close. We'll get to them. Nobody's in the range of the Northeast as it relates to negative levels of inventory.
And to your point, that 4.2% home value growth forecast that Zillow has for the Hartford metro area, that's the highest growth forecast in the entire top 50. Nobody else is in the 4s. Everybody else 2, 3.4, 3.7.
And that growth is for home values.
Home values. So that's the highest in the top 50.
So, this week I was talking to one of my mortgage coworkers. His office is in Cheshire. And so if a lot of his clients are primarily in Hartford County. And he was like, Brian, how's business? And I was like, I had a buyer this weekend. I pre-approved them for the first time on Saturday. They saw a house. They made an offer. They're under contract on Monday in 48 hours. And that just like blew his mind. He's like, really? Where was that? And I was like, oh, that was in Clinton. And so he's like, he's just so accustomed that most of the people that he's pre-approving in that Hartford County area are frequently losing out in multiple offer situations before they get a house. So, there is some, even within the state of Connecticut, there's some variance depending on whereabouts you're looking.
All right. Number 3, staying in the Northeast, Providence, Rhode Island. No surprise there with how expensive it is to live in the Boston, Massachusetts area. So number 3, Providence, Rhode Island. Number 2, Indianapolis, Indiana, headed back to the Midwest. And for the second straight year, the only metro to ever two-peat in Zillow's projected number 1 hottest forecast for 2025. Buffalo, New York.
Go Bills.
Wow. All those crazy Bills fans that hopefully they don't lose this weekend.